Good morning.
Good morning.
You're my neighbor.
I am.
I was so happy when I was walking my dog the other morning and I saw the truck that said Four Sigmatic mushrooms. I'm like, oh my God, this is my favorite nutritional supplement, and they have a truck. You were standing in front of it, and I'm like, could that be one of the executives of Four Sigmatic mushrooms? And sure enough, it was you. So I was so excited to find you on a dog walk and just talk to you more about your journey, because Four Sigmatics mushrooms is such a cutting edge product. I'm actually drinking the matcha latte and it's awesome. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I was looking a little bit up about your story, and you said that you got on a health and wellness journey based on an accident. So tell us how you got on a path of health and wellness.
Um, well, it pretty much all started when I moved to LA. I'm originally from Reno, in the Tahoe area. So I moved to LA when I was 22 in 2012, with my little brother. And before that, I had an accident when I was 21, where I was crossing a crosswalk and I got hit by a truck at 48 miles an hour and flew 50 feet. And from that, I didn't have, I guess you could call it a near-death experience. I had no pulse when people arrived at the scene. I had a very large laceration in the back of my head and I was bleeding out. And so I was resuscitated and then rushed to the ambulance, or put in the ambulance and rushed to the hospital. And then, so from that, it just, there are many things that accumulated from that. I had a brain hemorrhage in my right temporal lobe. So I had a very severe TBI that should have put me in a state of, in a coma, a vegetative state, or killed me. But because of where it was in my right temporal lobe, it was the best place apparently that you could ever get a brain bleed, because it just affects your speech and I think short-term memory loss. And then I had two partially torn ACLs, and it's really just kind of been this journey of living. So yeah, and then that's kind of what brought me to LA. My brother had asked me if I wanted to move to Los Angeles once he graduated high school. And from there, I moved here, and it pretty much just started that whole journey. Just living here, the type of people that live here, the conscious minded, the vegans, the meatitarian, just everything. There's just so much more variety here and so many different things to learn that I very much am a person who embraces it all. And yeah, I just learned a lot. And then pretty much cannabis was the first thing that really like shifted everything for me. So.
You believe in healing through nature.
I can't hear you that well.
Oh, you believe in healing through nature, not through Western medicine and
We
synthetic.
are nature. And I think that Western medicine has its place. I was supposed to have brain surgery and ACL surgery, and I denied both of them. So I've kind of just been on this journey of oneself, and the power that one's body and mind has over everything is far more vast than we really give it credit for. That's what I've learned.
So was it a combination of natural supplements as well as using spirituality and affirmative positive thinking that healed your body?
That's well, like when I first it was probably about a little over a year and a half until I moved here. And during that year and a half, I was a much different creature. I was also in a much different state of mind. I was very much, obviously when you get hit by a piece of metal that hard, and get flown, your life kind of changes
Mm.
and you begin to look at things a lot differently. And I remember once I found out I had my brain hemorrhage and I left the neurologist and I was driving home with my mom. I was in the car and I was just thinking to myself, I was a very trepidatious kid when I was younger. Like I was always the type to look before I leapt. I also did extreme sports my whole life. So whether it be water skiing, wakeboarding, snowboarding, or sorry, snow skiing, I've never snowboarded. But I come from a family of skiers, and luckily those sports really, I think, helped me through my accident because my body naturally kind of knows how to take hits and falls.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I just hit a tree snow skiing last season, which was my first time in my whole life ever doing that, which was a pretty scary thing.
Yeah.
Um, Back to what I was saying though. Just extreme sports. I don't remember where I was going off with
I
that.
was asking you if you use spirituality or affirmations or any mental things in addition to the natural products to help heal your body.
So the first year and a half, no, I was very much like in a less conscious mindset in the sense of I was drinking, I was pretty much just living and doing what I wanted to do, because at that point in my life there was a good chance that I had more of a fatality rate or more of the unknown. Like for 2 months I lived with that brain hemorrhage and had to get checkup every single week, an MRI, just to see how the brain bleed was doing. So when you just go through that, and then so to answer your question, no, it wasn't really anything other than I've kind of always been a spiritual person my entire life growing up, not knowing that was called spirituality. I was just very much attuned with life and nature. I grew up, in the wintertime, I was always on a mountain. Literally, I've never been to church. My church was the lake or the mountains. And yeah, so I've kind of just always lived that way. And it's funny because like I don't get sick often. And I recently got sick. I just had some stomach bug a few months ago. And when I get put in, like when you get put down in that state, it's one of my favorite places to be in, actually, because you go deep, like you have no other choice but to go inward. And I feel that's when a lot of healing begins to happen. And whether it's from an injury, whether it's from a heartbreak, whether it's from whatever, it's when you actually like take the time to stop and go deep in and focus on what is coming up,
Mm-hmm.
is what actually allows and helps you to move forward.
That's true.
So I kind of, I think, took all of that in through any time when I was young, when I was sick. Like older now, looking back, that's what I always did. And like through my injuries, it has always been that way, is where like, and I was given the time, obviously being hit by a truck, I was given 2 months where I had to drop work, I had to drop school, I had to drop literally my whole life and focus on just me. And then that is really what like progressed all that. So once I moved here and began to learn more, and obviously aging is a thing, like I also used to weigh about 45 pounds heavier than I am now. So
Oh.
I gained a lot of weight after I got hit. So I've been like on both ends. And so I weighed a lot when I moved here. And then once I started, I had a really good, my brother's friend was vegan at the time. And I mean, I support vegans. I support vegetarians. It's whatever floats your boat, because everybody's different. But growing up in Reno, there aren't many vegans. And
Yeah.
so you don't learn about that. You don't have that influence. And like, it was just like, yeah, I guess living here, I've begun to, is pretty much what started that whole journey in order to help others.
That's wonderful. So, how did you go? Because we were talking a little bit when we met on the sidewalk. How did you go from working in Air One as a grocery store clerk to being an executive at Four Sigmatic Mushrooms? A lot of people here want to own their own business, they're entrepreneurs, and they don't know how they're going to have the capital to invest or how they're going to create opportunities. So, I want to hear your journey as an entrepreneur.
I don't know if I'm technically an executive in the company. I'll put that out there right now.
Your manager. I mean, that's your
Correct.
manager is
That sounds so official, executive. Um,
your management.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I wasn't just a clerk at Air One. I helped open the one in Venice up. So I
Nice.
worked in our tonic bar, or in their tonic bar.
Hmm.
Um,
Where you can
whereas,
get a $20 smoothie.
so true.
For people not in LA, yes. People in LA spend $20. I had the funniest thing happen in a yoga class. She's like, this pose is for self-soothing. Ladies, you're not always going to have a $20 smoothie at Air One available to soothe yourself.
You're not, but you can definitely make it at home.
Using your products. We're going to get to that. So you were running the tonic bar at Air One.
Yeah, so that's pretty much where I got all my education. And it's really what lion's mane was the first mushroom. So I was doing coffee before I really even got into all this. Like what got me into this started with cannabis, and which really opened my whole all of it, and just taught me more through it. Just showed me more that there's way more going on here than, and this is before it even became, it was not legal obviously at the time. There was only through I think prescription is the only way you could get it. So it's not where it is now. And at the time I was like, how is this being held from us? Because it was something that I felt in my body that was helping so much. And which then just led into the bigger awareness that, okay, if this plant can do this for me, then everything that I've been learned about mushrooms has to be, something else has to be there. Which then just opened up into psychedelics, which then just opened my world up into the mushrooms that I work with now. Lion's mane being the one that really opened that door for me in this. My buddy brought me to Air One at the time, told me about this tonic bar. He did a coffee install there. He's like, you got to try it out. So I tried their brain tonic, which had this mushroom called lion's mane. And so I started plucking this guy's brain who was making it for me. And he started just like spitting off all of these benefits that you get from it. And I remember driving home, and it was lion's mane and plus like ginkgo biloba and rhodiola and all of these other herbs that help with brain function. And I remember driving home with my buddy, and I was driving home and I just had this like intense sense of clarity, like seeing, driving, everything was super clear. And I was like, whoa, there's something about this. So from there, it pretty much, my interest got spiked. The universe just happened to, I didn't have my coffee job anymore. Air One was hiring. I was at the time thinking of moving back home. It was just like back and forth, and it kept me here, you know. And I did my training. I helped open the Air One in Venice up. And again, the way stuff worked out, life is very strange. Our manager at the time had to leave, so pretty much everybody in the tonic bar got to fend for themselves, and it was quite a democracy, which was great because it really left it up to us to run the entire thing for the first like year and a half. And yeah, and that's where I got all my education. And then from there, you know, I heard tarot. So tarot and me share the same, or at the time had the same friend.
Tara's
So
the owner,
Tarot's the owner of Four
the one
Sigmatic.
from
Yeah,
Finland that you were telling me about.
correct.
And I researched him. Yeah, his dad gave him the passion for mushrooms.
Correct. Which
Yeah.
I've been to his farm in Finland before, and he's 13 generations deep. So I think his family's had that farm since the 1600s.
Wow.
And I've been there, and it's really, it's cool. Me and Taro have like the same, I think, kind of background of our love for nature and growing up in it. And like having a real respect for it, especially like seeing where he came from, and like he grew up pretty much with the fairies and the elves, and like it's really magical. Like he grew up on acres and acres and acres of just beautiful land in Finland, where everything's alive. You like take a step and like everything's moving. It's super rich, and yeah.
Sounds like the movie Avatar.
I felt like it when I was there. But anyway, so that
So someone was telling you about tarot. How did you meet him?
we had a mutual friend, and I think the first time I actually met Taro was when I went over to her house, and he was there making chocolate, as he normally does. And that was like, I think, our first interaction. And then a few things happened where they were opening their first retail space on Abbot Kinney, and me and Taro crossed paths, and he told me about this idea that he had where he wanted to have this space where people could come and learn about all of these mushrooms and herbs, and you could serve them drinks for free. And coming from a place where I was serving $20 smoothies to a place where I could give stuff away for free, I'm definitely more on like the free side of things in education. And it kind of just, I saw that they're hiring, and I applied for it, and I ended up getting it. And then from there, kind of the rest is history. And there's a lot of history that's being made.
That's incredible. I think I've met you now that you talk on that in the Abbot Kinney store, and I think you served me some free Four Sigmatic. It's all like coming back to me now. And I love that. Like, you can just try whatever you want there. Like, that's the best way to sell a product, is let the product sell itself. And that way you don't have to convince anyone.
Exactly. Well, the whole thing is also bridging that gap, because I know I used to be in the place that so many Western people are in, because it's something we are not educated on. I've been in especially since like I got hit, it's very much been a Western Eastern thing always. Like, and I've kind of just gone, I feel like there's no right and wrong either, or like each has its place, but I feel that the traditional Eastern way of things is very much something that there's just more of a power to it, because at least for me, through all of the pain that I've been through and all of the things that are against me, when you can actually overcome that through yourself rather than like medicating yourself, I'm just very happy I didn't go that route, because I would probably be living a much different life than I am now.
Well, I was researching mushrooms for this interview, and penicillin is made from mushrooms.
Correct.
So a lot of the most potent Western medicines are mushroom based. So I was going to ask you next, why are mushrooms so powerful?
A lot of different reasons. It depends on which mushrooms that you're talking about, but they have amazing antioxidant.
Let's talk about the greatest hits.
Antioxidants and polysaccharides mainly. So fat solubles, they're just nutrients that actually feed your cells. The thing is, like, so we're bridging the gap. What the Shroom Room and the Mushroom Mobile do is like bridges the gap between the uneducated and the educated, to bring it together so you can actually like educate people on what all of these things do. So there's certain mushrooms that go to different hemispheres of the body. They all go to different organs, and they all do various different things. It just depends on which one you're talking about. But the antioxidant properties is a huge part. Antioxidants obviously help with free radical stress. And that's what is the result of aging, is the death of cells. So you are what you eat. And so there's no, I think, truer statement than that. So we work with, the four main mushrooms we work with is reishi, lion's mane, chaga, and cordyceps. And they, one's more for energy, one's more for focus, one's really great for hormonal balance and helps you chill. And the other one
which one is known for which thing? Like, which one's the best for energy?
Energy would be more for cordyceps.
Okay.
Focus, lion's mane.
Okay.
Immune support or well-being would be chaga. And then the chill or sleep would be reishi. But it's also a mushroom that you could take not to just sleep. I honestly think the world should be, I'm a big advocate for lion's mane for my own personal reasons because of what I've been through, but reishi is something that I think the world should be taking way more of. Yeah.
I've tried your hot chocolate. I think is it called hot chocolate or cacao with reishi? I love it. It
The
is
cacao.
so great. It tastes better than regular chemical hot chocolate. And I know the reishi like calms me down. Now I'm drinking the matcha latte. I don't even know what mushrooms are in this.
And the latte has maitake, which is really good for your blood.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
They're all immunomodulators for the most part. So they're all really, that your immune system likes them and they like your immune system.
So what makes, there's mushrooms everywhere. They're very trendy right now. What makes Four Sigmatic mushrooms different from the other mushroom companies?
So when you're looking at products, mushroom products, you want to look for a few things. One is extraction. You want to make sure that your mushrooms are being extracted properly. There's two ways of doing that. I think there's two traditional ways of doing that. We're in the day and age now where there's so much technology that they're discovering and finding new ways to utilize them. So who knows what the future holds, but two traditional ways of always doing it has been an alcohol extraction and a hot water extraction. And that's actually what unlocks the compounds and benefits that these mushrooms possess. All mushrooms contain a compound called chitin, which is the same compound that's found in crab shells. So your body doesn't know how to actually break that down. So in order to break that, you have to heat them. So any mushroom that you're going to eat, you should always cook. You should never eat them raw because you're not getting what you could be getting out of it. And so that's one thing you want to look for is extraction processes and where their mushrooms are coming from, how they're harvested, if it's done sustainably, and things like that. Because there are companies out there I know who just grind up mushrooms and you're just drinking the powder, which isn't doing you any benefits at all unless you maybe steep it in the water warm water for a few hours to extract the powder, to actually get that. So we dually extract all of our mushrooms. So they are both hot water and alcohol, and then that gets put into a powder form and then gets put into our formulations. And that's probably like the two main things is just like where they're coming from and the extraction process that they're put through.
Now, I have been taking the 10 mushrooms, the mushroom shield, what's it called, in my coffee?
The 10 mushroom blend?
The 10 mushroom blend. And I actually before I even met you, it's so funny, I got into a debate with my friend about it because he saw the serving size. And he said, Rebecca, there's no way that little teeny tiny bit of product can affect your body. So
well,
what is that true? Do I need to be taking like a full tablespoon of that to really get the benefits, or is it okay? Because that little amount blends perfectly in the coffee.
Yeah. Well, it really depends on like what you're going for. Our 10 mushroom blend is 160 milligrams of each mushroom of all 10. So it gives you 1.6 grams in total of just so many amazing benefits. It's a low dose of a bunch of different mushrooms. So you're getting your biodiversity to your gut as well. But it's not something, so like we have a few different series. So we have an elixir series, which is what I do the most. So we have 4 of them. There's a chaga, a reishi, a cordyceps, and a lion's mane. They all have 1.5 grams of each mushroom, which is a really strong, good
And then how do you take
dose.
those? How do you take the elixir series?
So all of our products, they come in little packets, and then it's a powder that just mixes with hot water.
Okay.
And that's it.
So that's one focused area of those major mushroom areas at a time, the elixir series.
Correct. Whereas the 10 mushroom blend is like a low dose, kind of covering everything. It's an awesome everyday boost in the sense of like for your immune system, for just keeping everything flowing. Like there's so many different levels that these mushrooms work on that science is just beginning to like back up. That's, all of these things have been known for a long time. Like reishi, for example, has been known as the mushroom of immortality for the last few thousand years, just because of its amazing benefits it has for your cardiovascular system. And yeah.
And the 10 mushroom blend, it is a small amount, but it probably builds up over time if you take it every day consistently to form like.
Adaptogens are better taken like over time, which is interesting because since I've been with the company, I've been with the company now over 2.5 years. I was taking mushrooms and herbs before that, working in the tonic bar, but it wasn't like as on a consistent basis. Where since I've been with Four Sigmatic, it's been like a very consistent basis daily, for the most part. And it's crazy thinking back on where I was energetically before I started to where I am now after I started, because my sleeping patterns were super irregular. I would be taking naps. My body, like there's just so many different things that have now shifted to a way more like adaptable environment. Like I've just like, yeah, I mean, my energy levels are super grounded. And I don't have like these dips, even when I drink coffee now. But there's just so many things that it just like, mushrooms are the most adaptable thing on this planet. And again, you are what you eat. So they just help your body and your mind adapt to so many different stresses, which is the number one lead to, I personally think, cancer.
Yeah, stress is the number one killer. So
yeah,
anything you can take to mitigate stress is a godsend. Now,
yeah.
let's say that someone's never taken mushrooms. Maybe they're a coffee drinker. Should they start with the mushroom coffee? Like, where do you tell people to start if they're new to the whole world of Four Sigmatic mushrooms, but they want to try it, they want to learn more?
So the cool thing about this, what we do is, we have taken what most Eastern practitioners give you, and it doesn't taste good. Like
Right. Oh,
they
yeah.
give you so many herbs and mushrooms that just, it's more of a brutal thing to take them.
Yes.
So the great thing is we have taken that into and putting it into your or people's already daily routines. So our whole thing is to help elevate something that you are already taking. So it's really wherever you want to start, because our coffees have, there's 250 milligrams of each of the two mushrooms. So you're getting 500 milligrams total if you're doing the coffees per drink. So which is why I take the elixirs, because I know what these do for you and have to offer. So I don't need the caffeine either. Like I'm more, as Taro likes to say, the bitter, the better. The more bitter it is for you, the darker the berry, the more rich in nutrients it has. So I like bitter, earthy tasting stuff. But our lattes are great. Like if it depends really on where you are. If you are a full, Western American and not used to that stuff yet, our lattes are a great
I
starting
love the
point.
chai latte.
Yeah.
The matcha latte, the chai latte, the hot chocolate, I can vouch for them. They're all amazing. And you have two hot chocolates, one that gives you energy and one that calms you down.
Correct. We have a pick me up and a chill me out.
I love it. So I know a lot of people who listen to this don't live in LA, but for the people who live in LA, we came up with a special gift. Do you want to share that with them?
Yeah. So if you come into the Shroom Room, we're on Abbot Kinney in Venice, California. The address is 1629. You can come in, mention this podcast. We'll give you 15% off. You also can come into the Shroom Room and we do free drinks, so you can try any of our stuff. We have some really cool people that work there. We have Aaron used to be there. He's not so much anymore. He's kind of evolved into his other role that he's doing in the company. But it's either me or Trevor, or we have a girl that works with us, Twani.
I got to tell you guys, you should go to that Abbot Kinney location. Everybody's cool. It's like totally like not salesy. They're just hanging out, drinking mushroom drinks, talking. Like people are having the most like beautiful connecting conversations. It's an experience. That's what I love about it. It's not just like like a GNC or a Vitamin World where it's all commercialism. People are really having an experience there.
It's fun. It's really cool. I work with a really awesome company and team. Everybody's kind of their own superhero and angel. And the Shroom Room is it's a cool.
The Shroom Room. I love it.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Your shop?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
The Shroom Room.
The Shroom Room. And then we have Maury, the Mushroom Mobile. We also just opened so if you're in New York, we just opened our second Shroom Room on the Lower East Side in the Essex market.
Right.
So if you live there and mention this, you can go see Lauren or Bree. And they will be more than happy to talk you up and serve you a drink and hook you up as well. So, yeah. And then if you see Maury, if you see me, so I drive our Mushroom Mobile.
That's what I saw. So yeah, is that like a food truck for mushrooms?
So when I was doing the Shroom Room, because you'll see if whoever comes, you'll see it's very much a room. Like it's this little, maybe 10 by 8 foot room. And then there's this little hallway. That's it. So when I was doing that, I was thinking, God, this would be so cool to create that. Like it's so small and so cool and so perfect that I feel like you could bring it anywhere if you found like the right thing for it. So I was having a hot tub with Taro, and I kind of just told him about this idea to create a mobile Shroom Room. And he loved it. And then we probably for the next like hour and a half, just like started talking and brainstorming and just like talking about all these ideas. And he reached out to me like 3 months later and asked if I'd still like to do it. And I said, hell yeah. And so from there, it pretty much, we started looking for what we could use. And we were going to get like an actual school bus that was, like a long school bus, and we were just going to have that. And I was going to have to get a commercial driver's license and everything. But then that fell through. And literally the bus that we have now from Maury just fell into our laps. And it was this old school bus that musicians were traveling in. And so the framework for it, like for the back bed storage area, and then the counter that's inside was already there. So the welding work was done, and we just moved in. So it was my project, and I worked with a guy, Lauren, who had the bus, who pretty much takes buses, vans, anything mobile, and flips them into whatever you want them to be. So we essentially wanted to create a Shroom Room on wheels, and we worked on that for 2018, the summer of 2018, leading up to my tour that I did for 2 months. I went to 9 states, fully in the bus, lived out of it.
Incredible. What an adventure.
It was definitely one for the books.
That is grassroots marketing at its finest, going out into the world in your Shroom Mobile, giving people samples of mushroom elixirs and coffees. I love it. I wish that would have been a documentary on Netflix or something. People would watch that.
I know. I know.
That's fun.
That doesn't mean it's not going to happen again, but it was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
So Bryce, I know you're going to be up to amazing things in the world. We want to go on your next adventure when you go, and what's your bus called? Maury,
the Mushroom Mobile.
Maury, the Mushroom Mobile. We want to see you on social media and stay in touch. So Bryce, what is the best way for our listeners to keep in contact with you?
Well, definitely follow us at Four Sigmatic for our Instagram. And then I guess for me personally, my Instagram is just _the_uncanny. Okay. That's it.
Okay. And Twitter or anything like that, or the main thing's Instagram?
Instagram.
It's
IG.
all Instagram. I love it. Well, I have learned so much. Honestly, I feel like I could have talked to you 2 more hours because you have done so much work in the area of mushrooms and holistic medicine and the fact that you healed yourself from like a near fatal accident through natural healing is just so inspirational. Like if you can do that, you can do anything. So I can't wait to see where Four Sigmatic Mushrooms is going. It's already a household name, at least it is in LA. Everybody I know knows about Four Sigmatic Mushrooms, and I'm going to be taking them all my life because I think they're amazing. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your time. And I look forward to visiting you at the Four Sigmatic Shroom Room on Abbot Kinney to hear some more of your awesome knowledge.
Yeah, swing on by whenever, please.
Awesome. Well, it was so nice talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for this.
Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Hold on.